Hi, everyone. This is Phil Roos, CEO of GrowthWorks. Today, I'm with my colleague Elaine Tait, a principal in our firm. Elaine has been spearheading a series of consumer conversations with different cohorts to try to better understand how people are dealing with the pandemic and how it's starting to reshape attitudes and behavior. Elaine recently conducted some focus groups with millennial moms with young children, and she's here today to share some of the insights from those sessions. Welcome, Elaine, and thank you for all of this work.
Thank you. I'm so excited to do this. These conversations have been really hopeful in a lot of ways, and I think they've given the respondents an opportunity to have an outlet to just talk to others who may have a lot of similar hopes and struggles to what they're feeling amidst this circumstance.
And I have a sense this is a group that's near and dear to your heart. Is that right?
Absolutely. So, mom of a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, working from home, husband working from home, hence the location in a vehicle to ensure lack of interruption in the most critical meetings that we conduct these days. But absolutely, I mean, everyone is experiencing challenges to different degrees at all cohorts, ages, demographics. But I think this group is under a lot of pressure in the best of circumstances and has a lot of worries and guilt and anxieties. And so many have shifted, but I think the intensity of them has certainly increased with everything that's been going on the past 90 or so days.
Could you share some of the headlines in terms of some of the pain points, fears, worries that are on the minds of millennial moms based on the sessions you conducted?
Absolutely. One of the headlines was that moms in general felt like the beginning of the COVID experience mirrored that and was very parallel to that of what it's just like to be a new mom in the first 30, 60 days at home with an infant that maybe hasn't been vaccinated yet. The isolation that comes from being afraid to leave the house, being afraid to take a 2-week-old to the grocery store, that came back to those moms in a lot of ways, not able to go anywhere, not able to have any outlets or space for themselves. So one of the headlines was just the mirroring of the feel of what it feels like to be a new mom in this circumstance for all moms.
Mm.
And then also just lack of ability to have time or space for self-care. So when kids are in school, whether moms work in or outside of the home, there's more opportunities, whether it's when you take the kids to activities or go to school or just having access to childcare, which many states don't have the ability to permit for non-essential workers at this time. There's no outlet or space or time for mom, and in many cases dad too, to just have any breathing room or time for self-care.
Were there any positives? Was there any cause for hope that they shared with you?
Absolutely. It's a busy life for a lot of families when everyone is able to be out and about in the world. And so I think the beauty of what a lot of these moms were feeling were realizing that they can really slow things down with their families, and that it's really wonderful to have to find ways to do activities with your kids in the home and not have to constantly reference your schedule on the refrigerator or wherever you keep post of the crazy life that you had before. And so I think it was just the slowing down of what for a lot of the moms I spoke with had become some really crazy family calendars, family
I
lifestyles.
know one of the other areas you asked people about is different kinds of products or services they tend to be seeking out in this time. What did you learn from that?
Yes. So anything that can take some of the responsibility in any way off of them for the day-to-day needs. And so for kids, whether that's learning apps that they feel confident that they can sit their kid down with in front of the screen, or using the iPad, anything that can be helpful for the children, either learning or activity wise, that they don't necessarily have to be involved with if they're still trying to manage their own work. And some moms had chosen to purchase craft and science kits for their kids for the first time, things that they can really self-direct and self-lead them through, so that mom doesn't have to be, or mom or dad don't have to be as hands-on with each of the children at all moments of the day. So a lot of the DIY self-led apps and kits was one. Another was anything that's entertainment or health and wellness oriented for indoors or outdoors. So whether it's trampolines or strollers or scooters, it felt like all families were really ramping up how to bring health and wellness back into the lives, since the kids can no longer partake in soccer or dance class or even just run around at the local community park or YMCA.
Either in your experience, or maybe it even came up in the group, are there any particular companies or brands that you think are doing a really good job of serving the needs of millennial moms in this moment that we're in right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've been getting a lot of press, and whether it's Peloton or the Mirror or Nordic Track, I think any one that has enabled consumers to bring health and wellness and physical activity into their home, and to do so in a way that connects them to other people. It's a community that's now available online in a way that also keeps you healthy and well. And I think also something else that moms were really maybe even going back towards, that they hadn't for a long time or had maybe decided to turn away from, was really hard hitting, more efficacious cleaning products. But I think in the COVID circumstance, it's weighing that risk of, do I want a natural cleaner in all areas of my home, in wipes, in diapers, or do I really need something that I can feel confident is completely efficacious and trusted? And so moms that maybe hadn't been using Clorox wipes regularly or in as many ways in their life, turning back to them because they felt the need to protect their household and their adventures out into the world, grocery store or other, to avoid bringing germs back into their home.
Well, I guess maybe the final question here, and the big one is, where is this all leading us? How much of this is going to stick? What do we think might happen as it relates to the needs of millennial moms in the future? And any advice you have for people who are trying to serve that audience?
Yeah, I think they're tired. They're just going to come out of this situation depleted. All families, again, are struggling in different ways. And I think brands are going to have to remember that people are going to emerge from this depleted, tired, more stressed, more anxious, potentially with higher levels of guilt for what they were and were not able to accomplish in their home with their children while this experience went on. And, also they're going to come out of this with different consumer behaviors. One, primarily around just how they spend money, but also just hearing these women talk about how much less money they're spending now because they're concerned for their family's future financial stability, even if the current situation hasn't been impacted. So I think brands are going to have to really think about how to communicate with moms and parents of young children that are tired, that are stressed, that are worried, and that may not be willing to spend for your brand or your product in past ways, and reassuring them and convincing them why your brand is worth staying on the list.
Thank you so much. And we'll be doing more of these conversations with some of the other audiences we've been talking with, and we'll kind of roll those out in the coming days and weeks. So thanks for tuning in, and thank you again, Elaine.